It seems that every day a new allegation emerges about Donald Trump and his administration. Cracks appear to be emerging as well in his inner circle. There are also multiple reports of staff members feeling frazzled in the West Wing. Maybe that's normal. But with more on what's going on behind the scenes and how Donald Trump might be coping with it all, I'm joined by Washington Post senior editor Marc Fisher. He's also co-author of Trump Revealed, An American Journey of Ambition, Ego, Money, and Power. Marc, great to have you on the program. Perhaps the title of your book, Ambition, Ego, Power, all those things are just wrapping up into a big ball and it's all being tossed at Donald Trump. How do you think he's coping with it all?
Well, he's coping with it the way he always has. He believes that it's never right to back down, never right to express regrets. It's always right in his mind to attack back 100 times harder when you're hit. And so we're seeing that these instincts that brought him through a half-century-long business career are now being put into play as president of the United States, but with rather different effect than it had during his business career. This is a very different kind of managerial challenge that he's facing, one that requires him to form coalitions, persuade people, reach out. Those are things that Donald Trump never did during his business career, and we're starting to see the impact of that now.
Now there are tougher words being used, though. People are suggesting obstruction of justice. The word impeachment is perhaps not just being whispered, but in some cases screamed out loud. Now we know that former FBI Director Robert Mueller is going to be heading up this special counsel. So when you say he doesn't back down, is there a point at some time where he has to, because he simply can't continue to go forward being volatile?
Well, certainly there's nothing in Donald Trump's record that would suggest that he would back down. He strongly believes that the way through any crisis, even when it looks like defeat is certain, is to fight harder. He said this in his commencement address at the Coast Guard Academy yesterday, where he urged the graduates, when pushed up against the wall, to fight, fight, fight. That's his instinct. That's what he knows to do. And that's what we're going to see him continue to do here, despite the investigations, despite the special counsel. And this is why you're starting to see not only people in the White House staff, but in the agencies and in Congress as well, starting to ask really serious questions about whether they can work with this president and this administration. Even if they do share some policy objectives, can they work with someone who is going to be so much focused on his own survival?
And speaking of not only the inner circle, but the peripheral circle as well, one might say you're only as good as the people with whom you surround yourself. Those people around Donald Trump, are they frazzled? Are they pulling out their hair? Are they confused? Are they in chaos? What words would you use?
All of the above. It's a really rough time for people who work in the White House. This is a president who has almost superhuman energy. He doesn't sleep much, and he drives his staff not only with his long hours, but with his constant demands that they control the message. He sees himself as the master marketer, and so when he sees his press office stumbling or not responding smoothly or quickly to crises, he believes that he can do this better himself, and that has a really wearing effect on his staff. And we have numerous reports in the last 24 hours of people on his staff who are beginning to send out feelers about getting different jobs, who are saying, well, maybe this isn't going to work out. There's a real sense of that the staff is dispirited and searching for a way forward.
I also want to know about those who are in his corner. If perhaps during this chaos and times of frazzlement, they're leaving, if you're alone and you say Donald Trump believes he perhaps can do things better on his own, that he can stand up and do it on his own. But if you are alone as the President of the United States, can you actually do it alone?
Well, he's never going to be entirely alone because, as he realized during the campaign, there is a reservoir of goodwill and support for him from millions of Americans who are absolutely thrilled to have a president who speaks as plainly as Donald Trump does and who says he's going to turn things upside down in Washington. And he has already a couple of times in this short presidency, he has gone back out to the hustings, gone back out and held rallies where people will come who absolutely believe in him and who see all of these problems, all of these crises as part of a conspiracy to bring him down. And so he will go back to that well again and again when he's pushed up against the wall.
Final question for you, Mark. Keeping in mind your comments about those supporters of Trump out on the hustings, those on his staff who perhaps might be feeling a little confused, how dangerous then, with those two disparate sort of images, are these cracks that seem to be emerging?
Well, I think what we're starting to see in Congress is a mixture of self-protection among Republican members who are wondering whether attachment to Donald Trump is going to hurt them at the polls, perhaps get them defeated next year. And we're also seeing some genuine concerns about the direction of the country, the ability to get things done, the ability to get through the agenda that they came into office to put through. And so the combination of those genuine concerns and that kind of self-protection is driving some of these members of Congress to say, maybe we need to think about whether these scandals either end up with impeachment or at least supporting an independent, thorough investigation. We're at the very early stages of this, and any talk of an end game or impeachment, anything like that, is really way too premature.
I want to thank you for your time, Mark. I appreciate you allowing me to pick your brain on this. Have a great day.
Sure. Thank you.
Washington Post senior editor Marc Fisher.